What's going on, dividend investors? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we've made a couple of upgrades. You can see my beautiful face on the screen there, and then onto the left hand side you can see the live subscriber count from YouTube. So we're at 370 at the moment, so thanks to all the brand new subscribers. Hopefully by the next video we can all see a massive improvement with that subscriber count. But we're talking about three big ETFs in the portfolio, and I'm going to be heavily contributing to them this year. It's going to be JEPQ, QYLD, and SCHD. But what a lot of people do, and I'm probably guilty for it as well, is that a lot of people invest into like 3, 4, 5, 6 different ETFs, but they don't actually look within inside of the the holdings. And what they don't realize is they're investing in the exact same thing, exact same companies with the exact same percentage and weighting within that ETF. So with JEPQ and QYLD, so they're both pretty much the exact same fund, except the percentages will slightly vary. But what remains the same is they're all heavily invested in technology. So you can see in JP Morgan or JEPQ, you've got Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, the big 7 like technology companies, right? All invest in big tech for the majority of their portfolio. So you can see off to the right hand side of the screen, 7% is in Apple, another 7 is in Nvidia, Microsoft, 6%, etc., etc. And then scrolling all the way down to the bottom, some of the lower level companies are now sitting at like not even 1% or half a percentage point, right? So let's just have a look and see what's inside of the portfolio. Might actually surprise you. So right at the bottom here, you've got Airbnb, Lululemon. Keep scrolling up, and we'll see what some popular companies that we might be able to find. Uber, PayPal Holdings. You've got Intel. What else have we got? Yeah, Coca-Cola, AbbVie, ASML. Right, and we'll try and compare that to QYLD. So as you can see here, you've got all the big tech in the first sort of 10 companies, and then off to the left hand side you've got all the net assets. So they've got 9.3% in Apple, 8.7% in Nvidia, 8% in Microsoft. And let's scroll all the way down to the bottom, and we'll see if we can notice. Or that's actually probably a good point here. They've actually got $4.5 million just sitting in cash, but then obviously other payable and receivables. So cash that they're sort of in the near future will be on hand for those guys is just over $1 million as well. But let's see if there's any other companies that we recognise. Yeah, so Coca-Cola's there, just exact same as JEPQ. Again, Lululemon. Airbnb. You can see they're investing in MicroStrategy as well. ASML yet again. Yeah. Alright, so obviously you can see that very common trend there. So you've got JEPQ and QYLD, who are pretty much the exact same fund. They're going to probably perform the exact same in the market. But with SCHD, this is where the biggest difference is. So you'll notice over on the right hand side, you've got 4.49% with Pfizer. You've got AbbVie, Cisco, Coca-Cola. So do you really see any big technology companies here? Not at all, right? So we're just going to scroll all the way down the bottom and work our way up, and we're going to see if there's any companies that we recognise, and we'll see if there is any like big tech within this portfolio here. So there's really nothing that I notice on the second page here. We'll see on the first page and see what we can find. So they're investing in the US dollar, 14.8 million. Wendy's, the old what's that, like the old ice cream shop. Don't really know any of these companies, to be honest. H&R Block, that's a tax accounting firm. Alright, KeyCorp, that's a bank that I used to invest in. I ended up selling that bank a while ago. Snap-on Tools. I know with Snap-on, their compound annual growth rate for dividends was pretty insane. That's definitely a company to look into. Ford. Yeah, so Verizon, PepsiCo. As we get up to the top, we're actually seeing some more common names. Lockheed Martin, Home Depot, Yeah, Coca-Cola, and now we're at the top as well. So you can see that if we were to suffer like a massive sort of tech downturn, SCHD won't really be affected at all. Alright, so we'll now head over to Seeking Alpha, and we'll just, I want to compare these three funds and see how they're performing against each other. We'll just click the Create Comparisons tab, and we'll see QYLD. We'll then go JEPQ, and then SCHD to finish off. Alright, now it automatically comes up with price return, but that doesn't include the dividends, right? So we want the price, but also the dividends to come up with one massive sort of total return. Now, in theory, QYLD and JEPI, they're the same fund, a little bit different sort of percentages here and there, but they all invest in big tech, so they should really mirror image each other, right? So let's have a look at the past year performance. We've got JEPQ slightly outperforming QYLD just by 4%. Not too much, I wouldn't really worry about that. Let's have a look at the 3-year period, and then this is where JEPQ now just take off, right? So you've got QYLD getting a 20% return, SCHD a modest 11.52%, probably a little bit less volatile though, right? And then JEPQ 46%. It's pretty incredible within a 3-year period. Let's have a look at the 5 years. Right, again, right, so QYLD has now made a massive jump towards JEPQ, but JEPQ is still 46%. And SCHD has topped the list by 67%. That's pretty incredible over a 5-year sort of period. Now, just remember, SCHD has been, they've been a fund for a lot longer than, say JEPQ, so they could just be finding their feet. So it's probably not really an even comparison, but it's probably a point to note that, SCHD, while it doesn't pay that much more of a dividend, is outperforming these other two by a large margin, and they don't invest in the big tech. They're all just very sort of smaller cap companies compared to the big tech companies here. And another point to note, if we were to scroll down here, you can see the dividends between the different 3 companies here. So QYLD, consecutive growth 1 year. JEPQ, consecutive growth 2 years. SCHD, 13 years worth of consecutive growth. But also another number that what you want to see is the 5-year compound annual growth rate. So this is the growth of the dividend, and then SCHD, they've been growing it by just under 12% every single year for those 13 years. So that's pretty incredible. Right, so we'll just head over to track your dividends, and we'll just have a look at the portfolio and see how much money they're sort of paying me every single year within dividends, etc. So currently within the equity in US currency, we have $370,000 with a yield on cost of 21.47%, thanks to yield max ETFs. And the annual income is sitting around 82,000 US dollars. So again, that's US currency. So when we make the conversion to Australian currency, we're sitting at $120,000 every single year just in dividends, and that's before tax as well. We have to think about tax. So we'll click the annual dividend or the annual income tab here. We'll have a look at QYLD. So you can see that I've got 3,437 shares, and then the annual income is just under $7,000 every single year, right? JEPQ is 1,050 shares. The annual income is $5,700, and then SCHD again, slightly lesser weighting within the portfolio, a smaller weighting, 1,478 shares, and we have $1,470 worth of total income, right? So again, we have a lot of other companies within the portfolio, big yield max ETFs like Coney, MRNY, and Misty. Again, I'm just going to keep those a very small weighting within the portfolio and have these 3 massive ETFs do the massive driving for the portfolio, and hopefully we can get some good returns in 2025. So again, thanks for watching. Give me a like and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy the content. And let me know in the comments below, like, what are you investing in? I really want to know if you're investing in the same funds, being QYLD and JEPQ, etc. And if there's any other good ETFs that you recommend, that would be pretty cool to have a look at. But yeah, cheers for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.